My name is Brian Maxwell. I'm the anti-war candidate running for U.S. Senate in Illinois to replace Dick Durbin. I am an environmental engineer and scientist at the University in Urbana. I got my PhD from North Carolina State University in agricultural engineering, which means most of my career has been spent working with farmers to, try and find solutions for runoff and drainage options. So as part of why I'm running, I want to go to Congress now and make sure that we're passing federal legislation in this country for the people in Illinois that works for folks living in rural and agricultural communities, not just our big cities.
And how old are you again, sorry?
37.
And you were born and raised in Illinois?
No, I grew up in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So,
moved up to the university, took a job in the crop science department, and that's what
and
brought
then
me.
you just stayed.
So it brought me to Illinois. Yeah, Urbana is a really wonderful community, a lot of really great people.
Mm-hmm. And so, tell me a little more about why you decided to run, because obviously there's reasons that you gave, but it is a big decision to decide to run as a U.S. Senate candidate. It's not an easy thing to run for.
It is not. It was not something I considered lightly, but I felt that the national leadership of the Democratic Party has let us down twice now, and losing to Trump not once but twice, and letting Trump now be the first Republican in 30 years to win the popular vote. And I didn't see the leadership of the party having any kind of sense of reflection or introspection on that loss and trying to change direction. And one of the biggest indicators that that's been the case is the fact that the establishment of the party has had no clear change in one of its most unpopular policies with Democratic voters, and that's continued U.S. military support for Israel.
And that is something that you are really strongly running
I'm very strongly against that, and so is the country. You have the former Vice President Kamala Harris, who's now admitting that that's likely cost her the election, and that's supported by polling data that showed that was the top reason that 2020 Biden voters gave for not showing up in 2024. You have 90% of Democratic voters against this policy, 60% of independents, and yet the two leading candidates in this race said just a few months ago that if they were elected to the Senate, they would continue that policy. And I think this is a policy that's causing the party to hemorrhage. Longtime voters, especially young voters, are pretty against this issue. When I talk to students on our campus, this is a policy that people are strongly morally against. And I think until the party changes course on this issue and other issues that are affecting the working class, we're not going to see the party really recover anytime soon.
And I think another big issue that has happened is obviously the federal government shutdown that had the longest that we had in U.S. history. And Dick Durbin was one of the votes that broke ranks with Democrats.